Hello. This is the final of 4 missionary interviews to support our discussion of how do I have a relationship with Jesus and the doctrine of salvation. These missionaries are serving all over the world in very different cultural and religious contexts, and our conversations were a great encouragement to me. I hope they will encourage you too, and that together we will embrace the call to make disciples right here in our home context. For this interview, I spoke with Danielle, who is serving with her husband in Japan with the International Mission Board. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
Good morning, my time, evening, your time. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your work and how long you've been in the field.
So my name is Danielle Pirtle. I'm originally born in Tennessee, went to college in Arkansas, and was living in North Carolina before moving here. I've been serving with the International Mission Board, which is the Southern Baptist Mission Organization. I've been serving in Fukuoka, Japan. So if you see, I don't know if I'm flipped or not, mirrored or not, but Japan is kind of like this shape.
Hmm.
Tokyo, which everyone knows, is like up here. Fukuoka is down here. So my husband and I have been serving in Fukuoka, Japan for a little over 2 years now. Um, we are not full-time ministry yet. We are still doing full-time language because so that's 40 hours of studying Japanese. Japanese is one of the hardest languages to learn as an English speaker. For comparison, French takes about a year for people to get pretty proficient at it. Japanese takes 3.
Wow.
So still doing language and doing ministry when we can, of course, because
Yeah.
first and foremost, we're missionaries.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So Japanese people would not call themselves religious. They're things that we would label as religious activities. They see it as Japanese culture. So going to a
Mm.
shrine and praying for some god to bless them is just like a cultural thing to them. They're not super spiritual, especially the younger generation. They're just like, we do this because we're Japanese and because my parents want us to. Um, Christianity is estimated to be about 0.5% of the population.
Wow.
Um, yeah, if that's pretty generous too.
Okay.
A lot of the Christians that I've met fall very much into the lukewarm category,
Yeah.
where it's almost like this is our culture. We're Japanese, but this is our culture.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of churches, I don't know, they almost feel like um, we want to say encouraging things
Yeah.
from the Bible, but we don't always believe the Bible all the way. So that's kind of hard.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a really hard thing to be sort of
And
inoculated but not fully sold.
yeah, so Japanese do not have the foundation of um, like almost anything Christian, anything
Yeah.
where like we're having to like dig under their foundation of what they think of what comes to their brain when you say God.
Hmm.
We have to kind of go under that foundation and build a new one to even start talking about Christianity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really great way to put it, an interesting way to think about it. So, what does evangelism look like for you in your context? Are you talking to neighbors? Are you on a college campus doing your language learning? Do you just go out in public and try to strike up a conversation? How are you interacting with people on purpose?
So, our 2 years that we've been here, for about a year and a half, we were studying at a local university. They had a college class for learning Japanese, and we would audit classes with college students. And part of that class was we would have Japanese students come and help us practice Japanese.
Hmm.
So we were able to meet a lot of our friends there, which was a huge blessing just in that first early time. Recently, we have moved on from that program as we needed to start learning Christian vocabulary, which is really difficult. Um, so we moved to private tutors with Christian senseis, teachers. Sensei is the Japanese word for teachers, so you may hear me say that a lot. So our ministry changed again a little bit. through both of the times up until recently, we had some local Japanese partners who we would do a lot of ministry with. Recently, though, they have gotten really busy with life. So they're in a busy season and we haven't been able to do as much with them. But before that, we were with them, we would have a weekly English, Japanese language exchange Bible study where we would pull idioms from the Bible and explain them in English and Japanese. And we would always tell the Bible story that goes with them and try to share the gospel. Um, so we've had to be kind of creative. Japanese culture is similar to American culture, but not in the like range of small talk.
Hmm.
Like in America, you just say like, "How's it going?" to a stranger, and they're like, "Oh, I'm good, thanks," and it's not weird. But if you were to do that in Japan, like people would be like, "You're talking to me?" And also in the Japanese language, we don't have an equivalent of how like, "What's up? How are you doing?" Like you don't just ask people that really.
Wow.
You would have to either go deeper and be like, "Hey, how how have like how have you been this week?" There's not like the "How are you doing?" "Doing good." Move on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's nothing like that.
That's so interesting that the language
Mm.
reflects the culture. We just don't think
Yeah.
about that when it's your own.
Yeah. So everyone on our team, let's see, in Fukuoka we have one, two, three, four, five families here right now.
Hmm.
And everyone does like kind of what they feel called to. We all work together as a whole and collaborate with each other's like ministry. But for example, one of our families is very passionate about connecting the churches that are already here and training them. So they do evangelism classes to try to get the local believers motivated to go do evangelism,
Yeah.
and then they do evangelism with them. We had been working a lot with college students because that's what we had easy access to. So we're trying to figure out what to do next. We do have a few friends that Japanese who I met in America through a ESL program, English as a second language, and some of them moved back to Fukuoka, which
Wow.
was such a huge, awesome God thing.
Yeah.
So I keep up my connections with them. The easiest evangelism is when they can speak some English, because my Japanese is just getting to the level where I can start sharing the gospel in Japanese.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. How
I,
long did you say you've been doing Christian Japanese?
uh, like half a year.
Okay.
We got a little bit here and there before that, but doing a secular university course, they're not really gonna
Yeah.
help with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
Yep.
Um, so do you, obviously that you kind of already answered this, but imagining once you're proficient, would you imagine that it would be without the language barrier, easier to practice
Mm.
evangelism in your current context or back home in your home community or your sending context?
That is a hard question because when I was, hello, because I was going to say, yeah, it's a lot easier to do in English.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'm not there yet, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
Because
some
like,
ways, it's easy, especially living somewhere where you don't speak the language, or you're working on it. I'm like, wow, it's a lot easier to share in America because you don't have the language barrier. You don't have to
right.
think of the words.
Yeah.
I think it is kind of hard to share the gospel here, though, because like people aren't really interested in religion
Hmm.
because it's not really a part of their culture.
Right.
Um, Also, Japanese people have a huge aversion to cults because there was a huge terrorist attack by cults who I think they like gassed a train, like a public like subway train.
Yeah.
And it was a huge disaster, made world news. And so since then, people have been really weary of like any religion at all because they're like, oh,
Mm.
that sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, So there's a lot of layers to get
That's a
through.
hard
The
one.
the um, not knowing anything about Christianity, the aversion to religion, also the Bible is really hard to read.
Yeah.
It uses a very polite language. Like think of like if a kid is trying to read like the King James version,
Yeah.
or if you like handed a 10-year-old a nuclear science book.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe it has.
Yeah.
So they need someone to teach them and someone to walk alongside them, um, especially before they accept Jesus, because they don't have the Spirit yet to guide them either.
Right. Yeah. That's such an interesting thought. Is that a translation problem? Is that like the culture, like the language of the Bible translating to the culture of Japanese? Like,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot recently. They use the high language because they want to give God honor,
Yeah.
but it makes it really hard to read.
Gotcha. So they don't have like a message translation in Japanese.
No, they don't have that many translations at all,
Okay.
actually, compared to like the United States. You could like
Yeah.
list off like
Yeah.
tons of them.
Like a new reader, like an eighth grade reader, accessible
Mm,
version. Gotcha. That's
yeah.
such an interesting layer that you're
Yeah.
working through. Um, so translating what you've learned in Japan, North America is a lot more lost than we realize. So if you
Yeah.
could brainstorm a strategy, based on what you've learned and apply it for us here in the Bible
Mm,
Belt, what would you have us do? Where would you have us go? How would you have us train?
mm. One thing would be, I think for training is just get used to like just spewing the gospel out and um like building off of like stories. Like if you have a friend who's fishing and they're like, you know, Jesus also had some fisherman friends. Um Before moving to Japan, I worked at a pottery studio and it's like, well,
Mm,
there's a lot of verses about pottery in the
yeah,
Bible actually.
yeah.
So just doing what Jesus did, where like he would just share stories to people in
Everything's
their
an object
context.
lesson.
Yeah. So just getting muscle memory so that you can just get the gospel out and practice.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes it can be scary already. So if you don't know the words that you want to say, it can
Mm,
be even harder. So just learning the gospel inside and out, um, really putting it to your heart too. People don't want to hear a robot saying something. They want
yeah,
it to come from the heart. So some of that comes from spending time with God and having a heart for the people that we're sharing it with.
yeah,
Um, I think also knowing people's context. America is becoming more and more lost, where some of the younger people may not have the um, just like the biblical foundation that
mm.
we had, whether they're Christians or not. Um,
The religious vocabulary.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's getting more and more lost, which we have that thing here too.
Yeah,
So learning to share the gospel in just simple words too. I'm having to learn which words are churchy words and which words are not here.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and what we're having here is that there are some times when the Spirit's working in a gospel presentation, even though they don't understand it, they're like, yes, I want to do that. But most people, you have to teach them first. You have
mm,
to, you can't always start at Jesus. You have to start who the Christian God is and
mm,
work your way from there and almost tell the full story
yeah,
um, to as much capacity as they'll listen. So I
yeah,
think that's another thing is like um, sometimes just a gospel track isn't the most effective thing anymore. It's a lot of like relational building so
yeah,
that you have the space that they want to listen to your experience and your story too.
yeah, yeah. So if in the States, if you're going to share with
Mm.
somebody and you're like, okay, I think I'm going to start with just the gospel. What is there anything that like tees you off that like, okay, maybe I need to back up?
Mm.
Is that an in the weeds kind of question? We're about
A
to go
little bit.
sharing with some internationals. I'm about to go sharing with some internationals. And so I'm like,
Sweet.
okay, this is super good.
Mm. I think it's good to ask questions while you're doing it,
Mm,
being like, even like, when I say the name Jesus, what do you think of? Or when I say God, what do you think of? And if they're like, their idea of God is way different than what the Christian God is, then it's time to take a few steps back
Yeah.
and start explaining. And I think also in Japan too, it's really important to like look and see what people are like their face is actually doing.
Yeah.
Um, Especially as a new language learner, you might not always understand what they're saying, so their face can help too. But anyway,
Yeah.
so applying that as well, like if they're kind of like, mm-hmm,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, but you can tell that they're like not quite
Got on
getting
board.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's so helpful. And a great way to think about it. So yeah, thank you so much. That's all the questions I had, unless you had any more thoughts or wisdom you wanted to share.
I think one thing is that I recommend is ministry is not like this what's good for one person is not good for every person. Um, Obviously, it's not just the pastor's job and just the missionary's job to do evangelism. It's everyone's.
Hmm.
In Romans, it talks about like how can they believe if they haven't heard, and how can they hear if no one's like preached to them
Mm.
and or spoken to them, taught them about it. Um, and that's where we come in. We don't have to be pastors or missionaries to do evangelism.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I am not a natural evangelism person. I love discipleship. That's my passion, but we got to get people
Yeah.
evangelized
Yeah.
before we can disciple them.
Yeah.
So I'm stepping a little more into the evangelism here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and so um, also just think about like what you feel like God is calling you, what you're passionate about. If you love like college students,
Hmm.
or if you're a mom with kids, then family ministry is a lot easier than if like I don't have kids. So if I were to walk up to a playground and be like, "Hey," that would be
Yeah.
really weird.
Yeah.
So using your talents and your circumstances and just who you are, um, and also listening to what God wants you to do,
Hmm.
um, is my advice. Because not everybody is called to like kids ministry. Not everyone is called to um, prison ministry or homeless ministry.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
use your unique gifts that God's given you, and find where you can fit into ministry.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So how can we support the work that you do, both in prayer, financially? How can we keep up with the work that you do? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, so y'all are already Southern Baptist. If you give an offering to your church, part of that comes to the International Mission Board. And then also anything that y'all give for the Lottie Moon Christmas offering
Yeah.
goes straight to international missionaries. So
Awesome.
y'all are already doing a great job. We love y'all so much. You're the reason that we can be here.
Does that mean you
And
don't have to support Raise at all?
no,
That's amazing.
it's such a blessing.
That's
It's
amazing.
so much time that we can use doing ministry. Then
Yeah.
there's also huge perks to doing fundraising.
Hmm.
Um, but it is such a blessing for us to not worry about like, okay, do we have enough money for this month?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we're not living in luxury, but like we always have enough to get by
Yeah.
and bless others too sometimes. So we're
That's
so
awesome.
thankful for
That's so
y'all. We
nice.
couldn't, it would be really difficult for us to be here without y'all. And the IMB takes such great care of their missionaries, like
Yeah.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So,
Mm.
what about keeping up with like your prayer requests and your day to day? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah. So we have a quarterly newsletter,
Okay.
quarterly-ish newsletter. And I can give you that email address and you're welcome to
Yeah.
hand it out. And you could email us and say, hey, we want to be on the list.
Okay.
So that, and then if you want to just see our daily life, which usually just consists of cat pictures and like stuff that we eat, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook as well.
Okay.
Um, you can just look up my name, Danielle Pirtle. You should be able to find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for current prayer requests, um, they've made it really difficult for us to get driver's license here.
as
Brandon,
as
praise
Americans?
Jesus, is internationals.
Okay.
Um, the test is a lot more difficult. Like, it's so easy to get a driver's license in America.
Yeah.
Here, it's like a ceremony. You have to like, yeah, it's a whole thing. I could talk
Okay.
about it for a long time, but
Yeah.
I won't. Brandon got his after 7 tries, and I'm still working on mine. I'm about to do my 5th try, and we also have another teammate who's on like his 10th try.
Wow.
And like, really, it's just like it's gonna happen when like Jesus takes the wheel and we do it.
Yeah.
So every time I'm like, Lord, if this is the time, fill me with your spirit and let's go. But yeah, so
Wow.
driver's license, and then since we're in a transition period where we're getting close to finishing our language, I think, and after that we will start full-time ministry, which we're so excited about. But we haven't quite thought about like what we want ministry to look like.
Mm.
So I guess looking for new opportunities and just that the Lord would guide us in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it, and I am sure that this conversation will be challenging and encouraging to our Bible study. So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Mm. Yeah.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Have a good
It
evening.
was fun. Have a good day to you.
Thanks. Bye.